school.
Court school. Yep. So welcome to financial algebra. It's the last week. Woohoo! Quarter two. Just a reminder. So I'm looking at the weekly announcements in the middle in the red. The quarter ends 2:30 tomorrow, December 18th. You cannot pass a class if you do not pass Unit 4 and pass Unit 5 tests. And they're called assessments, which I think is throwing some students off as to the importance of that specific assignment. But they're super important. Winter break is December 22nd through January 2nd, and the labs are closed. Quarter three begins January 4th. We have a lot of problems with people coming back to school. They kind of forget that school's going to start back up again, and then we don't see them for a while, and then we start to see them at the end of January. And anyway, we're not college, so we don't start later than the first week of school, or January, which some people do. So that's where we are at. Okay, cool. So I have some participants, and I only know one person has participated in that poll, so hurry up. The other ones participate in the poll. How long will it take to pay off a $10,000 loan at 22.5% interest, making $350 a month payments? One more person.
I already voted. I was the first one.
You were the first one.
I
Have you done it, Katie Beth? Yes, yeah. Second? Okay, so we're just waiting for... Good thing I have my camera on. Okay. So, 66.67% of the class got it right. This is the loan that we took out on my husband's truck. And why do you think we settled for a loan that was 22.5% interest? Do you think that's a lot of interest or not a lot of interest?
So it depends on your credit, isn't it?
Yes, it can depend on your credit. Our credit was pretty darn good though. So what other factors would affect a high interest rate on a vehicle? Do you guys know? I was surprised.
Insurance?
It was a commercial truck, so it might have been like a little bit insurance. We had to go through a different insurance carrier because there's commercial. Because he has an F550. So for usually guys kind of have an idea what that means. Girls are just like, yeah, whatever, you know.
It's a car.
Yeah, so 550 just means it's got a lot of oomph in it. But it was interesting, the reason why we couldn't qualify for lower interest rate, and trust me, I looked, and we do have decent credit, is because the vehicle was older than 7 years. So that meant the traditional lenders like banks and people are saying, you know, we'll write you a loan for a car. Those people wouldn't write it anymore. And those are the people that will give you lower loans. So we went to a loan agency and they said 22.5. So I called a bank where we have a business account with, and theirs was, okay, well, we can write you a loan. It's going to be 23.2% interest rate, which, by the way, ma'am, is really good. I'm like, no, it's not. I'm a financial person. It's really lousy. And then they said, but we need the deed to your car, your current vehicle that you have, and we need some other collateral.
Just is like, vertical?
No, yes. And so we needed all that extra stuff. So we just went ahead and went, you know what, it's easier if you're going to write me the full amount of the loan. If I default on it, you're not going to come after my car that I have to drive around my family in. So it was interesting. I was surprised that I could not get a loan for a smaller amount, but it has to do with the age of the vehicle. And that was the biggest one, was the age of the vehicle. They didn't want to write a loan for anything older than 7 years. So just in case you guys ever buy a car sometime. So let's look at the discussion. I need to make that a little bit bigger. It's like a really bitty discussion. The discussion in red on the far right side, it says loans and debts make worries and frets. So what I want you to do is I want you to take over a pod and I want you to tell me what you think that means.
You can't type. Well, I can't type.
No? Oh, I know why. Thank you for telling me that. My Adobe Connect got crashed, and so I had to redo everything, and so I need to go in and promote you guys. Make presenter nice. Make presenter, I don't know about Katie Beth though. Make presenter, I did. And then finally I got you. So you guys should be able to type, so I'm glad you were with me so you could tell me I can't type. Mine, that's what I do. It's mine. We have a PS3 and I've claimed the login as mine. My son's like, which one do I go into? I'm like, mine. It's like, Mom, your name's not there. It's mine. All right, so what's your thoughts on loans and debts make worries and frets?
What?
Loans and debts make worries and frets. I'll make it even bigger. On the right side,
Alright,
up.
I have to scroll down.
Oh yeah, just scroll down.
Yeah,
Oh, so if I made it bigger, you'd probably have to scroll down even more.
yeah.
Oh, well, that's not very nice.
And actually not smaller.
No, that's weird. Ready? What do you think? Got 3 people ready to type. Loans and debts make worries and frets. Well, it rhymes, so that's cool.
You mother trucker.
Right at the forefront. Okay, does anybody want to like talk about what they said, or do you just want me kind of voice out? Anybody want to back up what you said? Want to back up what you said, Monte? Tay, want to back up what you said? Mine.
I really just like said what it said.
Okay. One of the things, do you guys, maybe you guys don't experience this, but do you ever worry about getting bills paid?
Yeah. yes, I do.
Okay. Sometimes bills are part of those loans and debts. I know for myself, I didn't really stress out about money very much until I had kids. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, I got all these bills and unfortunately a lot of debts, and I can get them paid, but then money's like super tight. So I make all this money, which isn't really all this money, but just pretend I make all this money, and then a lot of it goes right back out the door. Yeah, some of it's for my living expenses, but then some of it is for debt as well, and that's really frustrating when I'm paying off debt. Because if I didn't have those debts, I'd have a whole bunch more money to go play with. No, save, just save. Mm-hmm. Save for future things like my kids' college, which I'll just be happy if I get like $2,000 saved for their college. And so yeah, I've thought about all those things. So yeah, I like what you said. It means that the loans that you take out, the higher your debt is, and it makes you worry and stress. So like when you get, I mean, it's kind of sad when I get a paycheck, poof, 80% of it's gone, and it's kind of sad. I wish it wasn't. Maybe I should move back in with my parents, and so then I don't have to pay mortgage and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's good to not to. So let's go into and look at a problem where we're going to, it's a useful problem. It was from week 7, but week 7 was kind of like a really super short week. So I just wanted to kind of cover it again. I wanted to cover how our not mortgages, but without using those really cool formulas that we used in week 6, what's another way that we can determine the monthly payments for loans? So you ready? Ready, set. 6, I need to move. She failed, so I'm going to move 6 over here, and I'm going to bring this one over here. All right, so we're good. Okay, so don't forget December 18th, quarter ends. You need pass Unit 4, which is in week 4. You need pass Unit 5 assessment, which is found in week 9. Okay, so what I want you guys to do, so I still have Monte, Alexis, and mine on there. And what I want you to do is I want you to look at that chart that I have up there. Do you need me to make it bigger, or can you guys kind of see it? Is it kind of blurry? Can you kind of tell though? Like I'm not looking for 100% detail, but just a little bit of detail. Does that help if I made it bigger?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to just look at that table and tell me what you think it means. Like just something that you notice. Okay, just something that's there that you noticed. Giving you 30 seconds.
Well, what am I doing?
You're noticing something on the table and writing about it.
So man, I'm alive.
Yeah. So notice something and write about it. Year 2 slowly increases. Second year is highlighted. It has 2 parts highlighted. Okay, so I like that you're notice. Obviously, there's stuff drawing your eyeballs to a location, right? So let's draw our eyeballs to the location of 2 years and 8.5% interest. What is the number that is in the 2-year column and the 8.5% interest? So just type what that number is. Nice. Okay, so did the other 2 of you find it? I want to type it as well. Just want you to kind of know how to use this specific table. Nice. Okay, so we're going to do story problem around this. So what that means, and then notice what it says up top too. It says a table of monthly payments per 1,000 of principal. Anybody know what that means? So if I borrowed $10,000, what number am I actually going to use to work with this table? Just the 10 part of the 1,000. Well, no, it's because what I do is I take whatever my loan amount was and I divide it by 1,000, and that's the number I'm going to use to find my monthly payment. So, for example, I don't know, give me a number, Tay. And it's got to have the word 1,000 behind it. 3,000? Can't say and 5, you just have to say 3,000. 35,000. Okay, 35,000. I'll take that one. So just looking at student 4 down here, I'll try to make it bigger. So student 4, we got 22. I'm waiting for a really cool bamboo to come so I can like write this stuff instead of type it. So 35,000. What that means is and if we were to, okay, Monte, will you tell me an interest rate? It's got to be between 6.5 and 13.2. 12.25? Okay, and then Alexis, will you give me a number between 1 and 5 and you can type it? So not between 1 and 5.
Right. I'm barely listening. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, so he chose 2. Perfect. And you even used my thing. So years. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I think I got this little pointer arrow thing. Nice, I do. Okay. So I'm going to go to 12.25%, and then I'm going to go look for number 2 for years. And there's my little pointer. Do you guys see my little pointer and what number it's pointing at? Nice. That's a really cool feature, by the way. And so what I do with that information is I take 35, not the 1,000 part, or you take the whole number 35. This is a good strategy too. 35,000 divided by 1,000, okay, which is 35. And then we take that number and we times it by 47.19. Does anybody know what that is? Because I don't. Me neither. Got it? Everybody got a calculator? Try my calculator.
What is it?
I don't know. 35. Do you have a calculator up?
Yeah, I'm on Desmond.
Okay, perfect. So 35 times 47.19. 47.19 times 35. Wow. What'd you get? Did you get that high?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do 35 times 47.19? Oh, you did 35 twice.
You said 35 twice.
Well, doesn't mean you're supposed to write it twice. Do what I mean, not what I say. Is that what you guys had with your parents? That's what I had with my parents. Okay, nice. And so what that means is we use this table to find out what our monthly payment would be. So if we want to pay off a loan that's $35,000 in 2 years, which is a pretty quick loan, so that's why. Oh, okay, Monte. No, I think I did it right. Got to divide by 12 somewhere. No, I don't. That should be it. 35,000. Oh yeah, it was $35,000. I was thinking it was 3,500. I'm like, We'd pay that off in 2 months. Okay, so no, we're good. So we borrowed a lot of money, $35,000, and paying it back in 2 years is really fast. So you better come up with $1,600 each month. Okay, cool. That was just cool, by the way.
That's also going on the black market.
What?
That's selling an organ on the black market.
Yeah, people do that. That's scary. Okay, so let's work this problem, and I'll give you guys time to figure parts out. Okay, so use your board, your notes to work the problems. And a recommendation is figure out the loan amount, the rate in decimal as well, and then the life. So years. So those are your key factors. And I'm going to give you, what I want to do is I want you to see if you can figure out what the monthly payment is. Okay, kind of how we just worked that last monthly payment. What's the monthly payment? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put that little greeny arrow there. Well, I like my greeny arrow. It's really cool. 0.92. Okay, and then what do we do with that number?
Times it by
Nice.
25.
How'd you determine 25?
Because you say a 10 of 25,000. Probably said that weird. I'm not lost. I know what I'm talking about. You look lost.
Good. So you do. So you can either I need to get the arrow up, but you can either take 25,000 divided by 1,000, or you could recognize, hey, if I put the decimal where the comma is, then we're good to go. So you could look at it both routes. So what do we get when we do that? $498. Were there any decimals with that, or just dollars? Okay, nice. So with that information, let's go to the next one. Oh, how come I got that one? Did I screw up? Did you look at 10 years? Did I change my loan 5 years? Oh, I have 2 problems on there. I worked a different problem as I was doing the rest of my PowerPoint. So we're going to have to stick on this page rather than, I thought, like what I tried to do was, you know, do parts of the problem on a different page, and that didn't work out. So this is our monthly payment. So I'm going to make that red. Okay, can you guys see that notepad that I'm using? Okay. So now we want to find out, now that we know, what's the total amount of monthly payments? How do we find that? What do you think that would be? I totally changed that to a notepad because it's not working out. So how do we find the total amount that we paid to somebody else? Like we borrowed 25,000. How much are we paying back to them? Like how much money do we give them? Write checks for. How do we find that one? We didn't know how many payments we're going to make first, right? Gotta ask ourselves that question. How many payments are we making? How do we find out how many payments we make? 5, and how'd you get 60? Got it. So 12 times 5 or 60, and then what do we do with that number? Times it by my payment. Nice. And what's that going to be? Do you know? 29? 880. Okay, thank you. Nice. So that's that's our total amount. Now the last question asks us, what's the finance charge? What does that even mean? It's how much they charge for lending you that money. You know, so sometimes people lend you money and they don't charge you anything, as in like you go to American Furniture Warehouse and they have a for 2 years no interest. So then you're not paying any finance charges unless you don't pay it off, and then you have a load that you're paying. So your finance charge exactly is the cost of paying someone else to borrow their money. So how do we find the finance charge? How much more money did we pay out than what we borrowed? How'd you get that number? Good. And tell me that again. So that was what our finance charge. So it's really, like, my opinion, this kind of problem isn't like horribly hard, but sometimes when you get a table on an assignment, you're just like, oh, what the heck is that? And what's its purpose? But, you know, if we can help you dissect it and dig it out, then we're good. Does anybody have any questions on that? Does anybody have any questions on the class? If I were to bring an insurance dude out, would you guys come? If it's not at Central, I think it's fair to say last time I did it at Central, this time I'll do it here. So I will see. I'll try to get permission for that because I know an insurance guy and I just don't know if he'd be willing to come out or not. But I think it's worth. If I got a connection, I might as well try to exploit it. Because next quarter we're going to be talking about insurance, and that way you guys can go. Oh well, I got some questions. I'll ask somebody there. Because I know a lot of times we can go online and do everything, but sometimes I think it's better to ask somebody in a non-threatening environment because they're not trying to sell you insurance because, one, you're too young. Well, not really. But, you know, they're coming here to be informative versus trying to collect clients, and I always like to be in those environments better than somebody trying to get money from me.
I was trying to get money from someone.
Yeah, I let an insurance. I've had like different insurance people come into my house for different reasons, and I say, I am looking for information. If the harder you push, the more I'll resist. And I'll flat out tell them that. I'm like, if you try to sell me too much, I'm done. And the guy came in, and he still was trying to sell me too much. And I'm like, oh, you know what? It costs too much. I don't want to do it. He's like, but you're getting a better rate and balancing all this stuff. I'm like, I'm looking to decrease my bills, not keep my bills the same. And so it just, I respect the people who listen to what I want and process on that way. Anyway, I don't have anything else. So woohoo you guys for coming in. Appreciate you coming in and for participating. That was fabulous. So next time we have a webinar will be January 6th. So on your favorite number day. On my favorite number day. What's your favorite number, Monte? You don't have one? Alexis, do you have a favorite number? Hopefully he hasn't. Nope, he doesn't have one either. So nice. Okay, guys, thanks for coming in. Thank you for participating. You're totally awesome. Have a fabulous break and get your stuff done and pass this class. All right, later.